Hey everybody, hope you guys are having a great day. Apparently, I recorded a video and I uploaded it and did all that kind of thing, and it was on YouTube. And I don't know if YouTube ate it, if my computer ate it, if I hit the wrong button, but it disappeared the other day. And I've been so aggravated and I've had so much going on the past couple of days, I haven't been able to re-record it. So I'm going to re-record it and I'm going to try to cut it down some and you know, make it a little bit quicker so y'all can learn what I was doing. This is what I came up with at the time, which I was explaining. I'm doing a block cane. However, this did not come out as a block because it is 130% humidity here. You can't even walk outside without being soaking wet or even opening the door. And the clay is very, very because I'm not using Fimo or Primo, which are a harder clay. I'm using Sculpey, which is more of a softer clay, which if you're starting out, I think that's fantastic to use. I have tons of it. I use it for so many different things. But it gets soft very fast and I have very warm hands. So this is what I had came up with. I had came up with like this little pendant and was explaining, what you can do with these extra pieces and cut them and blah, blah, blah. And it did not show. So I'm going to start over and kind of do it a different way. And I wanted to show this piece, which is, I'm kind of close here because I want you guys to be able to see it. This is a piece that I threw all my extra pieces that I don't use. You know how you have scraps and everything? And I throw it together to use as backs for pieces. And what I explained was, I had done this piece as a pendant. I like the roughness of the edges. And then I would lay it on here and I would kind of cut it out. So it would make this piece thicker before I baked it. So it was a sturdier piece because it's just very thin. But that's really irrelevant now. But you can see all the beautiful. These are just little scraps instead of throwing them away. And when you do it, like I said, you have this really cool, I might want to cut a piece out and, once you glaze it, I mean, all the different pieces you get, it's really cool. So that's just a scrap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it a little faster and a little bit more economical than sitting and playing. So the colors I'm using are purple and this mint green. And as you can tell, like it did in the prior video that I had, it picks up, even though I cleaned my mat, it picks up a bit of the whatever pieces I have left on here that wouldn't scrub up. And in my other clay video, and this is going to be a block cane, but in my other clay video, I show you different things on how to what you can use if you don't have a rolling pin. This is just from the Wilton. I got it at Michael's with a coupon where it has these rubber things I showed in the other video. One's thicker than the other, so you can get different thicknesses, but people will use playing cards so you get the thickness. You can use an X-Acto knife. You can use a clay knife that comes with it. Or that you buy rather for the clay. You can also use, if you're doing this with kids, I don't see mine sitting here, so it must be on the other side. They have hard plastic pieces that you can use to cut, or you can even use like your bone folder, because you just really want to cut your piece. Do you know what I mean? And for kids, you want them to be active and you want them to be creative, but they do sell plastic pieces, and you can go buy the Play-Doh or even buy the clay. And they sell, clay tools for kids. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my lighter color and I'm going to make it into a square. So I'm making it's just a piece. It's probably about half a block, maybe a little bit less. You make it as big or as small as you want it. But I'm going to make it into a square, and you're just pinching it and kind of pushing it. So you get this nice square piece. I'm going to push the edge down here on the You can work on glass. I use picture frames. Picture glass from picture frames. This is a craft mat, non-stick. You can use parchment paper, you know, whatever you have, wax paper. You don't have to be perfect. I say this all the time. Many of you know I have RA and fibro and many other things. And clay sometimes is not an easy thing to do, but it is doable. It's very doable. And one of the reasons I use Sculpey a lot is because of this, as soft as it is. Sometimes it's too soft for me. And I use my pasta machine to, you know, get it conditioned and whatnot. But that is upstairs because I have to set up. And right now I'm fostering a little baby kitten and I have him up there. So to do all that up there would be too much. So here we go. We just have a square. And, you know, you do your best to get it as square as you can. Nothing, you saw I just sat here as I talked to you, and it's fun if you put music on and you just sit and play. Now this is pretty thick because I'm going to show you, you know, that you can tip so you can really kind of see it on the camera. If you want it thinner, you know, you just kind of pull a little bit. You kind of just work it out a little bit to make it a little bit thinner. Keep your shape, you know, and I keep rolling it over and giving it a little pressing. Little pressing, little pressing. Little press, and a little press. But you get the idea. We want the basic square shape. Okay? Now that's my light color. And now we will use the darker color, which is purple. Now this has been sitting down here for a couple of days, so of course it's going to be hard. Why wouldn't it? So I'm just going to roll this out. Now, something I'm going to show you what I do. Since I did do these prior, and I have some of these canes here that I was playing with in my other video, I'm going to give this a slice. And I'm going to peel. Let's see if this works for me. Going to slice in there. Carefully, of course. And you won't let your kids do this. But I'm going to see if I can separate, and I can't. This is too smushed already. I was going to try to separate the, oh, that would be a neat foot. So I'm going to save that. See how I look at things very oddly. But sometimes you can, and I have, you know, separated pieces. It depends on how much I've conditioned it and how soft it is and everything like that to get them apart. So you can separate your colors to put, you know, if you want to. This isn't going to work as well either, so no big deal. But sometimes you can do that and you can separate. You know, if you kind of, like I had the mysterious video disappear. And I want to bring you up so you, well, I'm doing this, and then I'll bring you down closer again. And it's just like rolling dough. And if you have a pasta machine, of course, use your pasta machine. And if you don't want it to stick, water is your friend. Water will help it not stick. And just turn it over. And roll, and roll. Pasta machines are great, but you do not need to have them. I got mine from my dad's mother. And that's the one I've been using for all these years. I've never bought one. You can go to any of the craft stores, AC Moore, Michael's, Joann's. I think Michael's is having a 50% off coupon now. You can go online and print it out and go. And you can get a pasta machine, probably, I think they sell them for like $30, maybe $40. You probably could get one for $15, $20. I don't, but you get half off. And if this is something that you want to do or that you've been wanting a pasta machine for, and you have a couple extra dollars, if not, it's not a big deal. You just sit and hold the clay and work with it, and it will become warm and pliable. And like I said, if not, use your water bottle or your cooking spray or whatever you have can. I use paint bottles. I use everything. And then I just kind of turn it so I can kind of flatten it. I love working on glass because, let's see, I should take these down more. I love working on glass because then you can just take it and bake it that way. You don't have to take it off the piece. Where here I'll have to, now if it comes off like that, you just kind of push it in. And it all kinds of blends in. It's really forgiving. Let's see where we are as far as size. That's pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that there. We're not going to worry about our ends being covered. I'm going to take this up and I'm going to push it up on this end. Try to push any air bubbles out. And then take it and push it over. Now what I'm going to do is very carefully, when you do this, just kind of cut. And you can pull it off. I mean, you don't have to because we're going to be pulling up. If you're nervous about using, and always work away from you. I'm working towards my hand, which isn't the best thing to do, but you don't even have to do that. You can just kind of do that. And you see, let me turn it this way. This might be harder for me to do, but you see how we have it? So we have it up like that. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we have no air bubbles, kind of press it out, and we want to fold it down. And then we want to take our knife, or whatever you're using to cut, your X-Acto knife or whatever, and you want to lay it against your block and cut off that extra purple. So then we're left with this. And fold up those ends. Now, as you can see, I have some green showing. And we're going to work with this. It's not a big deal, but just kind of work them ends up. Make sure this is flat against that piece. So you're keeping your shape. Pull it up. Not a big deal. I'm just going to rock it on each side just so it stays that square. Okay, so we're back at our seam. Bring it down a little bit so you can see. So you see our seam. So what we'll do is we'll take some of our clay that we pulled off. We'll set him there for a second. And we see over here we need a bigger piece. And you can just roll flat like I'm doing here. This is just a piece that I had pulled off when I folded it over. And I'm just going to roll it out. And I will kind of rip it in half. You could cut it in half. And I will lay it the best way that will cover, because we're going to end up cutting off some of that bottom anyway. And I'm just going to push it down, keeping your square shape. But we're just covering up that little bit of a seam there. And we'll do the same thing over here. You only need a little piece. And you just kind of mold it on there. Keep your square shape. Okay. And I can see here that it's cracking a little bit. Can you see? And I'm just going to take my fingers and it'll warm it up like when I do this. And it'll close those. And the same with here. So let's just give it a little push. And we want to work on the seam. So what we're going to do is the same kind of thing. Now you can squirt a little bit of water to kind of make your fingers not stick to the clay so it doesn't peel, so to say. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of water, and then I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm just going to take my roller very lightly, just with a little bit of pressure, and I'm going to roll it just so it seals that up. Okay, and then we're back to keeping that square shape. So we're just going to push it back down. It sounds like as I'm explaining things to you, it's really not that a lot. It's really not that hard. Now, if I had more time, I would have used my roller a little bit more, or my pasta machine, but for now I just want to give you the gist of how to do it. So here we have our block. So let me cut. You can see we have little ends on the end. So I'm just going to very easily cut some of that off, and that was just the purple part, so I didn't hit any of the green there, but I did want to. So I'm going to cut that off, and you can see that's part of the. Now before you smash it, what you can do is what I like to do if I'm not going to really save it. I do take the purple off. This is because I'm cheap. If it's not already smashed in like I was trying to do earlier, and I try to take the purple off so I can separate the colors, and they can go into the piles. This I already have kind of blended in together, so this will go in my big pile of a base bead. And you see this? So we're going to just kind of give it that square shape again, but we have a nice flat. And then we have to cut this end. Now, a tip I'm going to give you is, if I'm not doing it now because I'm recording. Now this is coming off good. Most of the purple. Because I'm gonna show you guys how to make different canes, so I want to save as much as I can. Not that I don't have the clay, but I just am cheap. But that's gonna go in another pile. Okay. What I would do before you cut anything like that is I would put it in the freezer. If you are in a place like me that's very humid and it's very warm, because if you put it in the freezer just for 10 minutes, what it'll do is it'll firm up. I can see I have an air bubble there. Firm up your clay. So when you go to cut, it's not gonna like smash down, if that makes sense. But because it's so warm in here and I have my lights on, and I do have the air conditioning on, but it doesn't do enough to not make this brand clay, even though I love the clay. I love Sculpey. But it does. It takes, throw it in your fridge or your freezer, like I said, 10 minutes so it gets nice and firm. So when you cut it, you get great slices. So now we have, and you can look at it and see, we're just going to give it a little push down so it's straighter. We have our cane. Take it off there. Okay. So there's our first block cane. And you can see here, it's a little extended out. No big deal. Now what we want to do is make a 4-block cane. So say we want to make this a little bit longer so we can cut it. So we're going to pull it a little bit, turn it, pull it again, because we're trying to keep it all even. And you want to make sure you do all 4 sides so we keep the square shape. And you want to thin it out, but you want to keep your shape. And I'm going to keep this on the bigger side so you guys can see. When I do it, because you can make them as big and as small as you want. You can sit here for 5 minutes and make it a bigger cane, smaller cane, whatever you want. But I wanted to make it a little bit bigger so I can show you. And we're just patting. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is we have our cane, and you can see I made it a little bit larger. Put it straight. I'm going to cut it into half. Remember, you want it to be, you know, chilled in the fridge. If not, you can just, like I'm doing right here, you just kind of give it that square shape again. Doesn't really lose it, but you know, you might have to form it again. And once you cut it in half, cut those pieces. Make sure you're holding the right part of the knife, as I almost did not. And you can kind of go one side to the other, and I just kind of go in and cut. Okay. And just give your little shape to everything that where you cut. We're gonna put these together. I'm gonna put them next to each other. And then this one. Put him on top. And then this one. Get him back into the square shape. So I laid them like this. Okay, so I did 2 next to each other and 2 next to each other, and then I'm going to put them like this so you get the 4. And I'm going to just put them in my hands, and I want to keep them square. So I'm just going to push it down a little bit, push it down a little bit, turn it, push it down a little bit, turn it, push it down a little bit, turn it. Do that a couple times. You want to keep the square shape. And see how we're getting? Well, you can even push it. And don't worry about this end, because this end's going to be like a, it's not going to be as good as the end. We only want to concentrate on the one end where we're going to cut from. And I'm just going to give it a little push on my paper, on my non-stick. And I'm going to push it. Now, if you want to make, you see how big these squares are, so let's do a small slice through it. And you see we have the cane. Now, that's the end part, of course, but you get the drift of what we're going for. So you have this great cane. Okay, so that's if we don't, and then we just go back here and just kind of give it back its shape. Like I said, again, you can throw this in. If you notice that it's kind of too soft for you again, throw it back in the freezer for 5-10 minutes. Okay, so now we want to elongate this. We got this. This is what you'll get with your first cut. Okay, so let's elongate this a little bit. We're going to push it down. I might even roll it just a little bit. Roll it this way. Turn it. Roll it this way. Turn it. Roll it this way. Turn it. Roll it this way. Just go over twice. Turn it. We'll go over it one more time. So this is our first side. Second side. Third side. Okay. Now you see that? Now that's our end at the end. So what if it bothers you, cut it off. because you have all that extra at the end. And this will be, of course, another piece to kind of throw into the, or make a bead from. Okay. So we did that. So let's say we want to cut this in half. And we want to lay them together. And we're going to kind of try to keep, and remember, please remember, my clay is warm. Between my hot hands and the lights and how hot it is here in New Jersey, it's horrible. Maybe I'll turn it this way so we have more purple in there in between. And you just kind of roll it so they get together. Or you can use your hands, whatever way you want to do it. And you'll get smaller cane, smaller blocks. Okay. So let's try to cut this. Yeah, you can even see when I cut, what's happening is it's smashing the clay itself. Not very happy with that, but it is what it is. You get the drift of where we're going with that. See how you'll have your blocks. And like I said, if you do throw it in the freezer for a few minutes to harden it up, you will see an immense crispness to your lines and whatnot. Just because it's just so soft right now. But see? Now people take this, and I mean, you can do so many things with it. I can even do it on, I'll do it on this piece, for instance, since this isn't going to be anything. But what we can do is, this piece right here is thick, the first piece I cut off. So not to waste it, I'm going to cut it in another piece. And you can just start laying. And it adheres perfectly. And get a whole other look. Maybe I don't want that hole there. And I'm going to show you. Right now, it's like, what are you doing? You're just throwing big bumps on there. But watch, wait. And you just kind of lay it around, all your pieces. If they touch or go over each other, who cares? We'll cut another little piece from here. And it's okay. And then, so we have all this. You just take your roller. Move this out of the way. And it will become one. It'll stretch out. You'll see. I promise. And they all become incorporated into each other. So say you go, oh, you know what? I got it on there, but I didn't get any on there. So then you'll just cut another little piece. Now maybe I'll use this piece that I squished that I wasn't going to use. And I'll just cut a little piece. And I'll lay it right on top. It doesn't matter. I'll lay it on top there that I already did. But I know it's going to go out. And it'll blend in with the piece I just did. And go up there. And if you need another little teeny piece or whatever, I mean, you can do whatever. Now you can take a cutter or whatever you have. Let's put this here. Whatever you have, and you can make your shape. If you have a certain cutter that you have that you want to make a shape, or you want to make, I like organic shapes. Just kind of use your hand. If you say, oh, I need another little piece of clay there, just take another little pinch Pop it in because you're only using the same two colors. Give it a little roll. It blends in and you don't even know the difference. And look. I love using these on mixed media pieces. Whether I'm making a necklace for, if I'm doing a girl or mixed media pieces in the background. I love using clay. I love making jewelry. You could do all kinds of cool things. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these charms that you can buy that have the hole in them. You can go in and cut, a piece out with that. What I would love to do, what I would do is I would take a skewer or whatever you have. I would, like I said, again, make this thick. It's sticking now to the bottom of this, but I would make this, thick. This is the other side, so you have a great back with your front. Or you could back it with whatever you have, black or whatever, your plain purple, whatever. But I would, stick your hole in before you bake it. Follow the package instructions to 65 usually. I don't know. Read your package because they're all different. Then you have your hole for your jump ring or head pin or whatever. You can put Pearl X on this. You can put twinkling H2Os. You can, oh gosh, the stuff you can put on these are endless, and we'll go over in another video other things that you can do. So with these extra pieces that I have here that didn't do anything, I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna roll them. I'm gonna roll them off camera so I don't make you sick. But then you get these great, I just put it in my hand and I roll it. If they do sell, I might even have a couple. Maybe I'll put one in a giveaway. I don't know. But they do sell roll, they're plastic, and you put your clay in there, and you can make different shaped beads, whether you want a circle or a oval or whatever. But I just use my hands. But I do have those when my hands are bad and I can't do it. I do use those great contraptions that they sell with clay. And then you'll just stick a hole in. You can make the hole go all the way through. And what I love about using metal, I use knitting needles and everything, is that you can bake on these. And they also sell in the clay section a bunch of these that sit on these little metal racks, which you can obviously make yourself at home. So these don't go flat when you put them on, to bake. But I just roll it on there to make sure it's free. And once they're done, you can sand these, so it's great if you have any little bumps or whatever. But you have a bead, so you bake this when you're baking this, and you have a couple beads, with the extra, like this little piece here. We're going to make that into a ball. But see, the way you roll it makes it into like different shapes. Like you can make it into a cabochon. You can, let's see if I can. It's hard to do it. If I do it on camera, then it goes blurry. You can make it into like an egg shape or whatever. And then you just, put it on your thing. Straight through. Just kind of firm it up a little bit. Give it, And then they're the same color. They don't have to be exactly right. So once you do you cook these, and once they're done, put a nice glaze on them with like Dimensional Magic from Mod Podge, or Glossy Accents, or a glossy liquid medium, or a resin, or, all kinds of cool stuff you can do. An iridescent medium, 3D crystal lacquer. I can go on forever. And then you can use these as two basic beads that go with your necklace. You don't always have to use these little pieces that they sell. They sell tons of different things that you can put your clay in. But just to start out with, just use your clay and do this, and then you can just string it on to a cord, one of the black satin cords or leather cord. And you have this great thing. Like I said, with this, if you want to cut it out with a cookie cutter, or, make it, a cool shape or whatever. And what I did on the other one was I took like this is a thing for a painting, but you can use anything you have, really. I've used, this is for painting, or you can use anything that's kind of got, hard, that's kind of hard. And you can even run this through, and you see how it makes everything kind of move. So it's not so, if you want to change the look of it, say you want to have like these marks on the end, like you want it to be a little, let's pull this off, like it gives it like this perforated kind of look. I know it's blurry, don't email me about it, I know. But can you see right here how that gave it like a really cool edge? So use your imagination, and just, you can do so many things with it. And again, another bead. So that's what we're doing today. Sorry this is so long. I taped the other one and I don't know what happened to it. So, it's just a regular nice square block. And you can continue on doing this and cut it in half again. And lay it on top. And do the same thing. And now look, you have, let me just give it a little push. Look at all the blocks you have. So it's endless what you can do. You can, I could sit here for hours to show you all these different things you can just do with this block. But like I said, pretty cool thing to do. And like I said, once you add your texture to this, if you want the texture to stay, bake it, and then you can add some perfect pearls or something on top of it once it's baked if you want, or a little bit of, antiquing or whatever. But if you want it to stay, just give it a nice hit with your rolling pin. And what'll happen is it'll flatten, but you'll still have the great texture. But you won't have, when you touch it, it's smooth, but it looks like, do you see what I'm saying? You still have the texture, but it's flat when you touch it, but it looks like it's 3D, like very textural. So that's very cool. So the next thing we're going to be doing in the next clay video, and this is our block cane that we did today, and this is just a few things with that. The next thing we're going to be doing is this fun thing. And this is called, I think it's I can't pronounce it. Monkune, I think it is. Monkune. And you see how cool it looks? It's very, very cool. Very, very fun. And the stuff that you can get from it is just, the stuff that you can do with it is fantastic. If you have, and it kind of starts off like this with all these colors. But if you want to cover something, or if we have like this little piece of like clay that's just a scrap clay that we don't have, that we don't have anything to do with, then you put it on, you can make it a bead, you can do so many things with this. And it just gives you really great, now I didn't condition it because it's been sitting here for a week since I did my other video, but you can see, it just really gives a really, really cool effect. So, and this would make great pendant. A fantastic pendant look. And depending on the colors you pick. So we'll talk about that the next video. Let me see what you guys do and how you guys make out and what you guys think and any questions that you have. I love answering. These are just basics. And as we go on with the basics, we will, I'll start, I love making dolls, and we'll start really making jewelry pieces and stuff like that. But for now, I just want to teach the basics. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if yours comes out like this, like mine did on the first time, it's not a big deal because it's still a really cool pattern. And that was because it was really hot, even though it's hotter today, but it worked out a little bit better in my favor. But how come it won't clear up? Because that's in the way? Yeah. So if it comes out like that, you just use it whatever way you want. You know what I mean? You're still getting the same, and obviously I shrunk it down a lot, but you're still getting a really cool look and really cool effect. So thank you guys so much. I'm so blessed. Be kind to each other because you never know what battle somebody else is fighting. And we have a lot of fun things coming up. So hope to see you guys soon. I'll be back probably with my art journal with Annie prompt this week and with a mixed media project. And anything else you guys want to see in clay, just drop me a note. I love getting your emails on YouTube. You guys are fantastic. You guys make me feel so good. So thank you guys so much and have a great Tuesday. Bye.